in the Flash shirts, which you can see right here, we are still going to do this little Superman thing. What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. It's Epictastic Joshua here, and welcome back to the Road to Superman 2025 reviews. So, this is going to be a little bit of a crazy one because it's getting closer to Superman. I want to try and get these all done, especially the ones I ain't done yet, despite me not having them physically and having watched them elsewhere. But that's besides the point. We're going to be talking about the original classic, Superman. Yes. Superman, the movie, 1978. This was directed by the now late Richard Donner. This was written by Mario Puzo. Yes, that Mario Puzo. David and Leslie Newman, Robert Benson, and Tom Mankiewicz. It stars Christopher Reeve, Marlon Brando, G. Hackman, Jeff East, Margot Kidder, Glenn Ford, Phyllis Thaxter, and you basically know what Superman the movie is. This is the origin of Superman, including his birth on Kal-El of Krypton and his youthful years in the town of Smallville. And as disguised as a reporter, Clark Kent, he adopts a mild-mannered disposition in Metropolis and develops a romance with Lois Lane while battling the villainous Lex Luthor. It is no secret that the original Superman still holds up for his time here. And for 40 to 50 plus years later, coming 1978, coming this year, this is a miracle that this even exists at all. Because with all the production troubles that this went through, with the Salcons trying to get it made, and Marlon Brando and his ego a little bit during filming, Richard Donner and one of the producers having difficulties with each other during filming, and the shooting of this and the sequel not at once, which didn't go as planned, and all other production troubles, especially with trying to find the right actor to play Superman. It is a miracle that this one even exists at all, and the fact that we have it many years later, and it is a miracle that this has actually seen the light of day. Originally, they wanted people like Francis Ford Coppola and George Lucas, William Friedkin, Richard Lester, who later do Superman 2 and 3. We'll get to those next. John Gilliman, Ronald Neame, Sam Peckinpah, and even George Lucas and Steven Spielberg to direct, but they all turned it down. Also, Guy Hamilton turned it down, and they also wanted people like Al Pacino, James Caan, Clint Eastwood, Dustin Hoffman, and Muhammad Ali, and also Steve McQueen to play the role of Superman, but that didn't go as well either. But we got this movie the way we got it. There was a lot of different people who came up with scripts, and they also, all the filming and production troubles was going on, and then we settled on the casting of Christopher Reeve as the very first theatrical box office live action Superman. And so with this movie, of course, they stopped shooting Superman 2 to focus filming on Superman, and so they decided if Superman was a success, they were going to make a sequel, but if it wasn't, they weren't going to do it. But we were able to get the movie we got, and this came out in December of 1978, got great word of mouth, and still to this day, this has to be said, even though I'm going to say it already, even though a lot of people have said it, this is still one of the more influential superhero movies in this genre. And this is the first big DC movie that did kick DC movies into high gear before it revamped again in the 2000s and such. And this movie is the reason why the Superman franchise is born. And without this movie being the juggernaut as it was, as well as being the godfather of the great superhero genre, which is in a little bit of a rough spot nowadays, but I still love the genre. Without it, we wouldn't have movies like the Marvel Cinematic Universe, the DCEU, even though it didn't pan out too well, but we got James Gunn helping. We got Blade, we got Batman from this, X-Men, this is a Spider-Man movie, Wonder Woman, the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and the two Spider-Man to Spider-Verse movies, or even Watchmen, Hellboy, the Sin City movies, V for Vendetta, and also TV shows like The Boys and Invincible, WandaVision. So it's a miracle this came and kicked it all off. This is pretty much where the big superhero movies in the box office all began. And it is still one of the greatest superhero movies ever and one of my favorite times. So I was excited to rewatch this, of course, because this is Superman. He is my favorite DC character, and there's a reason why I'm doing this Superman Revisited review series, because the new movie's coming out and I want to get ready for it. So, with that being said, let's talk about everything that is great about this original classic.
No scenes, sugar. Just a little down-home charm.
And why this is a full-on masterclass, and made everyone believe that a man could fly with an amazing sense of wonder. The first big thing that does come into it is the writing and the direction. This is the talents of Richard Donner and his impeccable directing, and the way the writing team of Mario Puzo, Robert Benson, Tom Mankiewicz, and Robert and Leslie Newman tells the story of Superman. It is the traditional origin story of Superman, but for the first movie in 1978, you have to set the groundwork. The first couple of minutes, you're basically seeing the planet of Krypton getting destroyed by the red supergiant sun, and they dismiss the concerns, but before the destruction, they do send their baby, Kal-El, to Earth. And this has been done so many times in this movie and Man of Steel, also in the cartoons, and also the League of Super Pets movie. But the way it's done here is you feel a genuine emotional vulnerability to it. And, that being said, also, we go from there, and then you see that Jonathan and Martha Kent, they take the baby and they name him Clark, and they go to hide his powers and believe that he was sent to Earth for a reason. But you pretty much get everything in terms of that great premise, and it is a great premise, of course, to watch. And the premise definitely works for what you're getting with. You're getting some great character moments, you get some great moments of seeing Superman as a teenager and how he fits into it. It is a slow-paced movie, but for 143 minutes, or with the special edition, I'm never bored every time I get a chance to rewatch this, even though there's a reason why I don't have this in my collection right now, but I will. And we're still going to do live watch parties of it. But this is an important film for the superhero genre. Also, the blockbuster genre, with a lot to love in there. But it's really Richard Donner's writing and direction and his earnest tone and the earnest feel that makes Superman as good as it is. And I feel like in the hands of a lesser known director, yes, you could say it's cheesy, you could say it's corny, you could say it's outdated. Most people grew up with Christopher Reeve, most grew up with Bryan Singer's one, and most grew up with Zack Snyder's one. And little kids in this decade, in this generation, will grow up with James Gunn's Superman. But it is still goated, because seeing this between the passionate director and the two creators, they took the material with respect and reference to have a majestic feel of it, emotional themes of moral and integrity and striving to do good. It's all there, and it's all work for the better of it. And you did not have a strong capability as you did back in 1978. I don't see how this will have done any favors, because you gotta have respect for Superman, because it was the one that started it all. It was the OG.
God, look up there.
What the hell's that?
Easy, miss. I've got you.
You've got me? Who's got you?
Also with it is, of course, the cinematography in this movie is beautiful. This was one of the last movies done by Jeffrey Unsworth, as he couldn't come back and film for the sequel because he did pass away. But you know, his cinematography from 2001 Space Odyssey and Cabaret, and just he is a capable director, and he was originally one of the cinematographers for Star Wars. But this is a great looking movie still. You could tell with the cinematography is there, even the visuals here. Yes, you could say some of that is a little outdated for today's standards, but I think the cinematography in this still holds up. It's visually alluring to look at, which all of the effects in this are great. Even with the Kryptonian moments with Superman, when we are there, it's done with great optical effects and with some great blue screen to make it transparent. But a lot of the great moments in the effects are just great. So it really does do a very strong job in terms of what we were doing here. So I really liked it. The way the cinematography is, the production design, definitely the character pops out of the comic. Everyone's going to get a different look at the Daily Planet and Metropolis, but this was the 70s, so they couldn't do a whole lot back then like you can now with this new movie. But I will say, the way the movie looks for the $55 million budget, it is still beautiful. The visual effects are still great at times, especially with Superman flying around for the first time, and you have some great moments where Lois and Superman are flying around together for the first time after he saves her, and then the land of Kryptonian and such. A lot of those moments, for some people, it can be cheesy in some aspects, but it doesn't bother me with that much amount of love and source material that it has. And not a lot of action in this is either, but for the action you do get, when you get it, it's welcomed with a great presence, and it definitely does kick into the full gear. So I definitely really quite enjoy everything about that. The Superman lore here is well expanded. I just talked about that. But I want to talk about the man himself that made it all possible. Christopher Reeve. Rest in peace, Christopher Reeve, because this man was a legend. He was picked from over 200 actors to audition for the role. Some of them I just mentioned. But Christopher Reeve, he does a really good job in the movie, and he does a really strong, convincing performance. You do have Jeff East playing him at the beginning of the movie, but I think he does a really good job in that role. And as a teenager, you definitely get to see a lot of the superhuman abilities he has to hide, and you get to see some frustrating elements and how that affects him with friends, and also Lois Lane in the beginning. Christopher Reeve, he does a very strong job here. He gets the mannerisms down of Superman, that Boy Scout American truth and justice way, down to his essence, in his own way. And he serves mankind and uses his powers to protect and save others, and to protect his identity. And he does act a little mild-mannered. The glasses, which people like to complain about, but it's a part of the character. And I really enjoyed his performance here. So, Christopher Reeve, rest in peace, man. You are a great Superman. There is a reason why he's still talked about today. Even though I liked what Henry Cavill did in Man of Steel, and I liked what Brandon Routh and Tyler Hoechlin did, and David Cornsworth is going to be just as great. He might be my new favorite Superman if he does good. But Christopher Reeve is the OG. He's the one that started it all. Gene Hackman as Lex Luthor. This man, another one we just lost early today in this year. It's so sad. But he, of course, Gene Hackman was such a good actor as well. Anytime I see him in something, he will always be great. But he is not my favorite Lex Luthor. I think those are two more, Michael Rosenbaum and another one who's controversial as an actor, but we'll get to it. when we talk about Superman Returns, I think they're more of my favorite than him, but I think Gene Hackman does a really good job as Lex Luthor. I really thought he did good in this role. Of course, he definitely has the plan of a lamb, but I really did like his plan in this. It's cliche, of course, because we've done this so many times with Lex Luthor, but it's not like you can do anything else. But I'm sure the new film, we're doing something different with it. So that's why I kind of enjoy what they're going to do with James Gunn. But he's great in here as Lex Luthor. Marlon Brando as Jor-El, which he's not in this movie very much, but I think he does a really good job here. And he actually did sue the studio and the Salkinds because he felt cheated out of his box office profits, which led to him not being used in the sequel.
Damn!
And you cut him out. Stupid.
Oh my god!
The hell, man?
Oh my god!
I'm sorry. What?
Margot Kidder, may she rest in peace as well. All four of these actors who I'm mentioning, they were all such a great actors. So many people pass away. But I will say Margot Kidder, she is great in this as Lois Lane. Very lovely. She was a great actress. And her as Lois Lane, she's at her best here. She has a spark and vitality in her strong interaction. She is liberated, hard-nosed, very witty, and also pretty attractive. Of course, Lois Lane is one of the most attractive women on DC, whether she's brunette or redheaded. I look forward to what Rachel Brosnahan is going to do in this role, because that is a well-casted Lois Lane.
Face it, Tiger. You just hit the jackpot.
I can explain.
Okay, I'll stop. But I think she's great here. She also has great rapport with Christopher Reeve. And originally they wanted people like Susan Blakely or Ann Archer, Deborah Raffin, Stalker Channing, or even Leslie Ann Warren to do the part, but settled on Margot to do it. We got Valerie Perrine as Eve Taskmaster. She was fantastic. She has a romantic interest in him, but she is a pretty cool character herself. Maria Schell as Vonant. You have Jack O'Halloran as Non. Trevor Howard is the first L. Glenn Ford, and of course you have Phyllis Thaxter as Martha Kent. They all do a very good job in their roles. Ned Beatty, he's good here. May he rest in peace. Jackie Cooper as Perry White. I thought he was great. Gets the role down. Mark McClure is a great Jimmy Olsen. I love Susanna York for her screen time as Laura. You also have Sarah Douglas and Terrence Stamp and are as the henchman as well of General Zod, which we'll see them later in the sequel. But the performances in this movie are fantastic in this. So I would very much love a lot of the acting in the movie. So the acting in this is fantastic. It's one of the reasons, besides the writing and direction, why this movie holds up so much. And do I need to mention how great the cinematography and the effects and the production design is? No, because I already have. For a movie made in the 70s, it's just everything just comes together so brilliant and so well done in this. It's just like you don't get any better than this. But this was the 70s, and we have gotten a lot better superhero movies for better and worse since then. Even some controversial ones that's in my favorites of all time, along with this one. But it's just the sheer substitute of this is well done. Do I need to mention, we are not going to talk about this movie and not bring up how freaking awesome the Superman score is, of course. The title sequence and the score. When you hear that score, automatically you get put into the excitement for Superman. I love that score by the great John Williams. It's one of his best themes and one of my favorite scores and one of my favorite superhero themes of all time. Again, there's a reason why this movie won for best sound and best score and best visuals. Even with its naysayers, you cannot deny the cinematic cultural impact, especially bringing in a whole new genre. And it has made its mark for many years. And I hope the new film coming this July can make its mark and shut the naysayers up, because Superman is back in balance. And if anyone to give us a silver age of superhero films, it will be Superman. For better and worse, regardless of people's stance on it. I really don't have too many issues with this. I can see some people, while they say it was slow paced, there's not enough action, it's more focused on Superman's origin stuff, but or it could be too campy and such. But that's the thing I really have to admire about this, because you gotta understand, this set the groundwork, and if you didn't set the groundwork well, it would not work as well as it did. But you did it, and it works very well in terms of what you can do. So hello everyone, it is Joshua here. So as you are watching the video, this is kind of my reminder to tell you guys to, if you are the 80.4 to 90 or more, or the 5% returning members who are not subscribed to the channel, please be sure to subscribe to the channel, because it does help this channel grow and it does help the algorithm as well. Also, if you're listening on Spotify to any of these reviews or live streams, please be sure to drop the 5-star rating on Spotify, on Epictastic Live Podcast, and comment your thoughts. With that being said, I click you back and enjoy the video. But overall, the original Superman is essentially a classic. I love this film. It is amazingly well done. The script is amazing. The direction is great. You have a great majestical tone. You get the feel of the character. Christopher Reeve is awesome in there. Margot Kidder, Gene Hackman. It's just bona fide superhero cinema goodness right here. And I look forward to talking more about the other movies, but this is just a fun comic book movie I still really love, and it's one of the best of its genre. And this was the beginning of bringing Superman to his full essence. You know why I'm giving this movie. Do I have to sugarcoat it? It's Spider-Verse worthy. Come on. How are you not gonna have me talk about this and not say the glory of this movie? Are you kidding me? You trying to play me for a fool? Superman fans, you can't fool me. Review of Superman 1. I look forward to sharing my thoughts on Superman 2, both versions, Superman 3, Superman 4, revisiting Superman Returns as well, Man of Steel, and Supergirl. Hopefully that one goes a little bit better, because the first time I hated it, but we'll see. And yes, Justice League The New Frontier and Crisis on Infinite Earths are going to be coming. So we gotta kick this full steam ahead, because Superman is on its way, and I'm not gonna waste any more time trying to push it back. Even if I don't have these movies physically or digitally, I gotta finish stuff. I made a commitment, and I'm gonna stick to it. I'll see y'all in the next one. Well, that's gonna do it for the video that you just watched. If you want to see more, my channel icon is up here. If you want to see more content from me, all my social medias are right here in this end card. I will also leave a playlist and a video here for you to see what the channel is about. As always, acknowledge me, stay Epictastic, join the Epictasticness, and you guys keep it cool.